Hello there, my fellow Cybertronians. This is the Mega Ginger and the Ginger Transformer podcast. First off, new background. If you recognise it from the BotCon comics to do with the Elite Guard and the subsequent TFCC comics to do with the Elite Guard, good for you. I mean, like you move that way, you can kind of see like Metal Hawk behind me. You move that way is Dion, you know. They've got like Iron Fist and Land Shark and Thunderclash and Power Flash, the Kabagons, So I thought it was just time for a change. This is the top 10 animated Transformer deaths. And this is my opinion. Okay. I'm not adding in the live action stuff or in from the comics because it would have to be a top 100 list because there's loads of fucking deaths between those two. This is just anything G1 and G1 related animated deaths. Also, there's a couple in here that are not G1, which I know, shock horror. So without further ado, number 10. Everybody in the 86 movie who died. I mean, that was the first big kill count we pretty much get, you know, in Generation 1. To that point, there had been no death. All of a sudden, you've got Ironhide, Prowl, Brawn, Ratchet, Wheeljack, Windcharger, Courtney Daniel, and the season 3 episode. Well, it's not the Return of Optimus Prime. The one where he comes back as a robotic zombie, apparently Huffer as well. Huffer died. That's going to annoy me. I've been watching that stuff on repeat on Hasbro Live, like season 3 on repeat. I can't remember it. But yeah, pretty much they all died. Starscream gets killed, the Optimus Prime gets killed. And apparently there's a lot of unconfirmed deaths. Apparently the part in the movie where you see Perceptor, and I think that's Grapple just for a bit further out, and they're all shooting, and somebody else charges by Perceptor. That was that was supposed to be an expanded Charge of the Light Brigade kind of scene, where you see all these season 1 and 2 Autobots charging at the Decepticons and getting turned into Swiss cheese. Perceptor probably being the only one who lives. There was also a lot of storyboard stuff that artist Stan ended up doing to show us some of the extra stuff that could have been in the movie. It was written up to be in it, but it was originally cut for time. But I don't think it would have helped. It was basically expanding the Battle of Autobot City. You saw Mirage getting blown to pieces. I think it was Red Alert, he dies. Trax, he dies. It was extra stuff, like extra deaths. Because like a lot of these season 1, 2 characters were never seen again. And it kind of sucked just to assume that most of them were dead without actually seeing it happen, if you know what I mean. Dark Awakening. Dark Awakening. That was the season 3 episode. Dark Awakening. Number 9 from Beast Wars, season 2, episode 1. Pterosaur and Scorponok. They're in the top 10. They're number 9 because their deaths were just fucking stupid. They fall into lava, never to return, never to be seen again. Did Cybertronians become pussies or something since the time of Megatron and the Decepticons at this point? Because at the end of season 1, they were all forced into the lava. And in season 2, they were all fine. It was like they had a lava. Blur in season 3, the face of the cheetah, was dropped into basically molten lava, or their version of molten lava, because it was on an alien planet. And he came up fine. It was like a hot bath for him. So what happened? Did Predacons and Maximals just suddenly become weaker? Or they not made the same sterner stuff? I don't know. But the deaths seemed pointless. Now, Scorponok I thought was just a yes man, pointless character. But I liked Pterosaur. He was basically the the Starscream of this series. Nope, he was gone. So yeah, they're in there mainly because of the fact that to me they were stupid deaths, if I'm completely honest. Number 8. Okay, once again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Ginrai, Super God Master Force. But at the end of it, Ginrai is basically, it looks just basically like Optimus Prime, like Power Master Optimus Prime. And the Transector becomes alive, like all these Transectors become alive, and they go off to fight the war out in space. In Victory, he joins up with Starsaber's crew. He's on for some strange reason to help them fight Deathsaurus, and he basically jumps in front of a shot from Deathsaurus that was meant for Starsaber. It cripples him and basically kills him. Now, yes, he is revived as Victory Leo, but Ginrai, whatever it is, he's officially gone. he's dead. And in the next couple of episodes, they actually wonder if he's even in this new body as Victory Leo because he seems quite fucking feral. So eventually, yes, the personality re-emerges, but himself, that body, he's dead. He's gone. He's 7. Megatron. Now this is Generation 1 Megatron, but in Power of the Primes cartoon. He was killed by Optimal Optimus, so as not to be taken by Unicron again. Now, there is no explanation as to why Megatron is back to being Megatron, because it is mentioned that, yes, he did used to be Galvatron. So what happened? Did just decide one day as Galvatron, nah, fuck, guess I want to be Megatron again? There's no explanation. But yeah, he's in there because it's kind of it's Megatron. It's a self-sacrifice, you know? I mean, to stop him becoming Unicron's bitch again, but as a self-sacrifice to stop him in his tracks. Because of that, because we see Megatron of all people doing a basically like selfless sacrifice for the good of the rest of the Cybertronians, that had to be in there. It just had to be. Next, Ultra six for me is Ultra Magnus. Now, this is I'll explain why in a second. Right, Ultra Magnus is killed by Six Shot in the Japanese series Headmasters. Here's the thing: what happens to a Transformer when he dies? He goes grey. Ultra Magnus never went grey, and I'm pretty sure that the corpse was smiling as they sent him on his way. You know, where he died, he wasn't fucking smiling. And I'm sitting going, did he just did he just want to leave the war? Was he pronounced dead so he could start anew or something? Or was it more along the lines of IDW? Was there someone inside of Ultra Magnus the whole time that we just never knew about? We never see him again, but he does not go grey. He does not change colour. He's killed. It says as much he is killed. He is dead. But for any G1er, it becomes a bit of a kind of is it just bad continuity on the parts of the Japanese that made the cartoon? I don't know. But yeah, Ultra Magnus was a big part of the movie season 3 and season 4 for Generation 1. As he isn't a lot of the comics, so I felt he had to be mentioned here. Number 5 is the first of 2 non G1 characters. The death of Vector Prime from the Transformers Cybertron series, when he disintegrates after resetting time to save the others and send them back through some sort of space warp. Apparently, it was quite touching, quite emotional. Apparently, he shows up right at the start of Transformers Cybertron to help them all in their quest for the Cyber Planet keys, I think it is. And then when they get stuck somewhere, he has to sacrifice himself. But being the Prime who he is, outside the time a little bit, I don't know if did he disintegrate? Is he dead? Did he just go back to wherever he came from originally? Is he just out of that timeline and went somewhere else? I don't know. It's made out to look like death, but once again, I don't know enough about the series. I just know that the death was one of the big deaths of Cybertron. So I thought I'll add it here. Number 4, once again, not from Generation 1. Starscream from Transformers Armada. Armada, I did properly watch as a kid/teenager. So I did see this. It's when Starscream's trying to get Galvatron to stop fighting the Autobots, stop fighting Optimus Prime, and work with him to fight Unicron. Galvatron, he is a dick, but like bigger dick than even Generation 1 Galvatron. So he ends up in a sword fight with Starscream, who at this point is coloured blue, so he looks a bit like Thundercracker, but he's still Starscream. And Galvatron runs him through with a sword with the Star Saber, I think it is. And Starscream gives us this speech about, I tried to please you, I tried to do whatever you wanted, but no matter what I did, it wasn't good enough. Then I saw how Optimus Prime treated his men, and I realised that he was a leader of integrity, unlike you. He then backs away, removes the sword, charges up his like plasma cannon things with his little minicon at the back, and the last is his famous last words, "You're all mine, Unicron," and just sends this massive fucking blast up towards this planetoid, which it turns out is Unicron. The blast never makes it before Unicron sends a beam of energy of his own down and disintegrates Starscream where he's standing. Starscream in his final act saves the little minicon, I think it was Swindle, releases him so he gets away, he isn't killed. And it's this sacrifice that makes Galvatron run through his head what Starscream's last little speech was to him. Word for word, images throughout all of Armada. And Galvatron, by the end of it, just looks at Star Saber, looks at Optimus Prime, turns the Star Saber around, puts it into the ground. That's it. Starscream's death made him see sense. And Starscream, this Starscream, is different to the Generation 1 one. He is a loyal Decepticon. He's loyal to Megatron. He wants to prove himself. He's not trying to go after the throne of the Decepticons. He just wants to be recognized, be seen by his leader. And it makes that one quite emotional because if you're a Generation 1er, you couldn't see the G1 Starscream doing that if it was, even if it was some sort of long play, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't stick to it. He'd fuck it up somewhere. So really, it hits you because it's so different, And number three, this had to be in here because Beast Wars is part of Generation One. Dinobot, and not Dinobot from War for Cybertron Kingdom, though, emotional that was. Again, this was the original Dinobot sacrifice. Basically, he's up against a lot of Predacons, his former allies and troops and stuff, who all just start shooting, blasting, and they kill him, and he's able to achieve his mission. No, what he set out to do, he destroys the golden disc, removing Beast Wars Megatron's advantage over Optimus Primal and his Maximals. It was to him, it was the epitome of self-sacrifice. Dying for the warriors' code, for honor, and for the right thing. Me personally, I think is a bit point. I thought death was a bit pointless, but then again, maybe I was traumatized from the '86 movie. Who knows? On to number two and number one. Speaking of the '86 movie, the number two, Starscream, Generation One Starscream. If you'd watched this G1 series, you'd wanted this to happen for 2 years at this point. In season one, nothing happened. In season two, I got bitch slapped a few times, nothing happened. So in the movie, we finally get the only proper Decepticon death in the whole fucking movie, Starscream. And that's why basically that is number two, is right at the top, because it is basically the only Decepticon death. It's the only Decepticon death we see. We see in brutal detail. Obviously, we don't see Shockwave again. We don't see any of the parts of Reflector again. We don't see any of the Cybertronian Seekers like the Rainmakers, like Acid Storm or anyone like that. But you can only assume that they were killed in the assault when Unicron transformed and Kent went, boom, here we go. Here's, because Decepticons launched a full-scale attack. There must have been casualties. I can assume they were in there. But you don't see it. And so the only Decepticon death you see on screen is Starscream. And it is so well deserved when Galvatron transforms and blows him the fuck away. It was like 2 years in the making, and you're sitting going, finally, you got what he deserves. Cue season 3. And he comes back again as a ghost. Ah well. But you know what? It was one of the favourite deaths in all the Transformers. Ironic, given what I said my number 4 was. One of the most emotional ones was Armada Starscream. One of the most fun ones that you were waiting for was G1 Starscream. Number 1 in my top 10 Transformer deaths is Optimus Prime. It's going to be Optimus Prime. It's going to be Generation 1 Optimus Prime. Of course, it's going to be Optimus fucking Prime. But I'm not just meaning his death in Autobot City in the movie. Obviously, when he dies there, that is heartbreaking. Then he's brought back by the Quintessons, kinda, in Dark Awakening, only to die again. Only to be brought back again by the Quintessons for the return of Optimus Prime Part 1 and 2. And if you go with the Japanese Generation 1, instead of going on to Season 4, Generation 1, he dies again. At the start, I think it's like the third or fourth episode of Headmasters. He dies again. And, Horror becomes Rodimus again. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Dead, alive, dead, alive, dead. And it's not any better in the comics. I think he dies in the original run like 3 fucking times as well. It's like by this point, Prime's is going, oh God, you again. Why? Just pick a lane, alive or dead. Each time Optimus died, you got a bit emotional, but eventually you started going, oh, okay, you know, it's it's like do something with the character, permanently do something with the character. Don't bring him back just to die every single time. So that's my number one. Honorary deaths. Sounds stupid, but it's basically deaths that I thought should be mentioned, but just weren't good enough to get into my top 10. Cog in Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom. He dies. Is it? It's a sad death. It's a sad slash pointless death. When he gets on the Quetson ship, he stops DCs from, blowing away the Ark and blowing away Nemesis. But they continue to fire on that ship, not realizing he's there. It explodes, and it's like goodbye, Cog, who was already dying because DC says like right through the chest of one of his tentacles, you know, which you wouldn't think would be fatal to an Autobot. I mean, in a lot of the series, you get to like completely dismantle them, but who knows? Impactor, ironically, once again in War for Cybertron Siege. Impactor was a Decepticon warrior loyal to Megatron, and he's killed, not killed, found by Ratchet, repaired by Ratchet, and then he has some sort of loyalty to Ratchet because of this. He then ends up sacrificing his own life to save Ratchet from a secret attack. I mean, let's face it, he's also someone that seems to die a lot. I mean, in the Marvel UK comics, he dies not once, but twice. And he was killed in this. And it's like, Jesus, stop, all these characters are killed over and over and over again. It's like, okay, we'll be emotional. Just stop doing it. And we got Mistress of Flame from Titan's Return. Titan's Return was the second series out of three for basically a giant advert for toys basically. Mistress of Flame was introduced in IDW canon, and for the Combiner Wars, Titan's Return, and Power of the Primes series. Well, not Power of the Prime, she was dead at this point, but she was put in there along with the Torchbearers and Windblade. In the first series, she doesn't do much apart from like sit and bitch. In the second series, she's not in it much. Megatron goes to find out the doctor about religion or spirituality or something. Megatron, a lot of people. But yeah, Overlord's got there first. And she puts up a hell of a fight. I'll give her that. But in the end, Overlord's Overlord. He just walks in there, that kind of almost Texan accent, and just basically goes, yeah, so where's Megatron? And do you know what the Enigma combination is? He's Overlord, I think, in any continuity is a proper psycho. Because she's attacking him while he's asking all these questions, quite calm, quite familiar, almost like he's talking to a friend before he murders her, you know? Calvatron in Armada. He added to this for basically comedy purposes because, he's falling down like the maw of Unicron after the Unicron battles, and he's basically falling in a circle. But he's giving Optimus Prime a speech as he's going down, and blah 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 blah, Spencer, blah 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 blah, blah, blah. And you hear the boom, you assume he's dead. Technically speaking, he's melted into a wall, and then he becomes Megatron again in Energon. But it's just funny. Optimus Prime, don't you do this, and don't you do that, and we peace, and it's up to you now, and blah blah. And he's falling to his death. Like trying to give him a speech, and I'm not even sure if Optimus is still around at this point. If he's already just fucking ran, I mean, Unicron's been badly hurt at this point. He's going somewhere else. So, but no, I was just funny. Just last but not least, in the honorary one, all the Sentinel Primes, all of which seem to end up dead by the hands of Megatron. Most recently, Transformers 1, where he's ripped in half. You got in the IDW comics, he's brutally murdered, and he's the husk of his corpse is used as like a fucking throne for Megatron. In the flashbacks in Five Faces of Darkness, you see him get shot by Megatron. Didn't look fatal, but he passed on the Matrix, so I'm assuming it was fatal. In every continuity, it seems that Sentinel Prime meets his end by Megatron's hands. That just had to be put in there because, continuity, I suppose. you know. But anyway, that is the top deaths. Well, top animated deaths. If this video does well, I might do top deaths in comics. Optimus Prime and Impactor will probably be in there. But for the next 6 videos, we're going to revisit some of the Transformer series that are G1-esque. They're basically all to sell toys. I'll be going over Combiner Wars, Titans Return, Power of the Primes, and then War for Cybertron Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom. In that order, because that's the order they all came out. I know technically speaking, like with timelines, technically speaking, it should be that way, but I'm doing it in the order that they came out on TV or streaming or whatever the hell it came out on first. So that's that'll burn a good six episodes. So until then, roll out my fellow Cybertronians.